Priscila the Killer.
Gotta say, I love that nickname.
Oh, yeah.
We mentioned the size discrepancy in the tail of the tape. That's kind of the story of every Priscila De Souza fight. She's always at a height and reach disadvantage. So, but, you know, when you're trying to shoot in for a takedown, which she very often is, she does like sort of an overhand right and then drive straight to a takedown. Being shorter can actually have an advantage because your center of gravity is lower, so it's easier to get under your opponent's center of gravity and getting them down.
Let's see if she has a moment to illustrate exactly that, as she is on a rampage right from the onset here. De Souza pushing her opponent up against the cage.
And Priscila De Souza has actually cited former UFC champion and overall MMA legend Anderson Silva as the one that made her love MMA. But it was BJJ that got her into combat sports to begin things with. She actually found it on a whim. She followed a friend to BJJ class, and after having her first training session in jiu-jitsu, she loved it, began continuing with that. Now she's a BJJ black belt, and she is just an overall fan of martial arts. She's a fan of Nate Diaz, Muhammad Ali, and Dragon Ball Z, something that she shares with one half of our main event, Leticia Blow.
Oh, there you go. That's the softer side of De Souza, indeed, perhaps for those moments when she's not focusing on her fighting career. And we have a possibility here for the French fighter to find her way out of the situation.
You can see that Muay Thai plum and elbows there. That is such textbook Muay Thai there, the way that she controls her opponent in the clinch. And that can be a very good deterrent for Cornolles. Let's see if the referee... Okay, just making sure that... Okay, I'm not quite sure of the separation there. If it was because of a wardrobe malfunction, you don't necessarily have to take the position away, but Cornolles on her opponent like a swarm of bees here, not giving De Souza any reprieve.
Well, you don't need to give her much room to breathe, indeed. De Souza just working with what she has and adapting permanently to the situation at hand, and trying to get a prominent position there to attempt to finish off her opponent, but her opponent not having any of it, and she cannot control what's happening down there. Looks like our referee's at it again.
And it seems like, yeah, De Souza is having a wardrobe malfunction. It has been seen at the highest levels of the sport. We saw it in the very first women's UFC bout ever when Ronda Rousey fought for the title, where there was a wardrobe malfunction that almost gave her a loss. We'll see how we can sort this out. I was honestly thinking about it when De Souza was walking out. But that's not the close that I would have chosen.
Exactly, to make sure everything stays in place during the bout here, De Souza. And it looks like indeed we're going to go all the way and fix this issue right here, Sebastian. Now there's a moment for you.
Yeah, I gotta say, you know, there's always a first time for everything in MMA. It truly is. I've never seen a last-minute in-cage wardrobe adjustment like this.
There you go. You thought you've seen it all? Well, you had to come to Paris to see something you hadn't seen before, Sebastian.
Correct you are, Mark.
Merci, Paris. And the raucous crowd here in France obviously giving a beautiful cheer to De Souza to encourage her, or perhaps they're encouraging Cornolles, more likely the French fighter there, as she tries to stay focused during this interesting period. And just the advent of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, just the way it's taken over the world, and it just throws us back to the very early days of the UFC, doesn't it? When Royce Gracie came around and was just able to show the world what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu can do, and just the testament to the efficient and efficacy that the sport brings to the game. It's just absolutely unbelievable.
Gentle martial art, yeah, definitely. De Souza seemed unhappy with the position being taken away from her there, and screaming as she tries to shorten that distance there. Expect one of those traditional judo hip tosses there that we saw previously. She's very good at it. She very often ends up in side control, because if you successfully do execute one of those hip tosses, that usually is where you end up.
And we're back for more with just a bit over a minute here in the very first round, and looking for those answers with the fist, trying to find a little bit of fury there.
Nice elbow there in the clinch.
There it is, just trying to find the elbow, the fists, and the knees earlier on. We saw that. Certainly from the Thai portfolio of available strikes in different ways you can try to hurt your opponent. Oh, there she is, Cornolles with that knee to the face.
she is just giving everything here in this clinch. She's extremely strong in the clinch. She's showing that here. De Souza's down.
Oh, is she down and out? Cornollle looking in a prominent position there, holding her opponent down. And maybe it is, it's going to be a long stretch to hold until the bell.
It looks like De Souza is kind of trying to roll on a leg, perhaps. But, I mean, she doesn't really have anything to threaten with. And look at that, Cornollle advances into mount as well. Not a whole lot of time left to work, though.
Yeah, the time is of the essence here. But still, the damage is inflicted, and De Souza having a hard time indeed dealing with the situation. Cornollle continues to pound her opponent.
Oh, she's going for the armbar.
Oh, there you have it. There you have it. The armbar locked and loaded. And Cornollle latching onto that and liberating that right hand to keep smashing her opponent's face.
And this is actually where the size discrepancy might favor De Souza, because there's not as much of her arm to pull over. And you can see she seems to be, I mean, she's not out of complete danger, but she's out of the imminent danger that the armbar posed. Nice back mount there, but looks like, yeah, look at that. Nice work there from De Souza. Slipped out the back door, but, I mean, the top control here from Cornollle really is something else. Final 10 seconds.
That looks like we had a little mistake there on our clock that we had on the screen for
yeah,
a bit earlier.
I don't think it probably wasn't paused for the little...
Probably.
She's gone through rounds with some of the best in several different weight classes. Juliana Velasquez and Roxanne Modafferi, those are tough customers.
Well, speaking of toughness, I mean, that's what comes out as well when you talk to Nora Cornollle and the people around her, the staff, those who know her, certainly describe her as someone who goes all the way. Cornollle is not someone who just does things halfway. When she's dedicated and focused, she is driven to deliver everything she has.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, heading into this fight, she said, and I quote, "I think I'm destined for great things." And I say that without pretension.
There you go.
And she, yeah, I mean, I agree, Mark. She carries herself like someone who knows something that we don't.
It ain't bragging if you can back it up, right, Sebastian?
That was a nice front kick to the face there from Cornollle. But De Souza doing a pretty decent job at cutting off the cage, cutting off the distance, but once again, Cornollle frames off her opponent's face, and now she gets the takedown as well off of that.
There you have it. Some more action here on the mat at this point in time.
And I really feel like it's Cornolle's strength in the clinch that has been the story of this fight. It's just, I mean, she got this trip takedown because of the clinch, and now she's got the crucifix position here on top. You can see she's trapped both of her opponent's arms.
Trapped with nowhere to go and no way out, or so it seems. They're certainly not finding the solutions she would need right now to contend with the situation.
If she can isolate De Souza's left arm as well, or she might actually go look for a moment like she was maybe going to go for an Americana there. But this is still a great position for her. And yet, there's the Americana attempt by the looks of things. She releases it in favor of landing strikes. And at one point, I mean, even if these aren't, fight-ending strikes per se, they will add up, both in terms of damage and in terms of forcing the referee to intervene.
It's going to make a long receipt at the end of the night, that's for sure, as they just pile up. And we saw that in round number 1 as well. You just add everything she delivered a few minutes ago to what she's delivering now, and you get a sense of the greater picture that she's painting for us right here tonight.
And she's painting it with her opponents. Just damage and not blood so far, but...
there you have it, the referee stepping in there to prevent anything further as Nora Cornollle gets the job done. After a 3-win streak in a row, she gets win number 4 here in Paris tonight.
I mean, she said she was destined for great.